Hello, Love Wrestling. Tuesday morning. What is it? December 3rd already? Good Lord, December 3rd. What are we talking about here? But it is 10 a.m. You see Drew. You see myself. And you all know what that means. It's time for some Firmly AEW. We got Sandy in the chat acknowledging the Chiefs of Tuesday morning wrestling media. That's Drew and I. That's right. You heard it here. He's saying hello. We're gonna talk about it, Sandy. We're gonna talk about it. Tremendous. Tremendous. God. But yes, we are back. We were off last week. I mean, we had shows, but we were off live last week for the holiday. But we are back live for the next few weeks, and then we'll be doing a similar thing on Christmas week. At video games, maybe, Lawrence. Maybe. It's true. It's true. Wow. What a turn of events. What a turn of events. You know, I think, Drew, you know, we're going to talk a little Survivor Series. Last night's episode of Raw, excellent episode of Monday Night Raw last night. I would argue that it was the best episode of Raw since they've moved back to 2 hours. I thought it was absolutely just no negatives on that episode of Raw last night. I do want to talk about it, but I think we're going to change it up here a little bit, Drew, today, because I think there is no other thing to talk about at the top of this show than New Day and what happened. Obviously, we've had this lead in. You know, we purposefully waited to record our WWE episode last week after Raw because we wanted for Survivor Series stuff, anything that changed. But, you know, I think we discussed, we were like, we got to see like New Day stuff, where we're at, if they do anything. And last week they had that spectacular segment with Kofi and Xavier Woods in the back. And it was just spectacular. And they laid everything out on the table with each other. And then it comes to last night. And don't get me wrong, we're going to talk about Survivor Series. We'll dive in and, you know, once we start going through the rest of Raw and things like that. But last night, they bring Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods out for the 10-year anniversary. They're in the ring. My God, man. They start talking about the history of the New Day, and they just start talking about, you know, they show a nice little intro video and all this stuff, and it's really emotional, and it's like, oh, all right, here we go. Like, they're doing this. They talk about being successful for 10 years, getting to this point. It's more than they ever dreamed of. They thank the fans. Kofi then grabs the mic. Joe, I just said it. I said that might have been Zach. I am, but we are professionals. We are here. We're going to get through it. Zach. But trust me, we're all feeling that way. We're starting the show with it. We're not following our normal formula. We are just starting with the New Day. We got to get it right out of the way. So then Kofi grabs the mic. He says it's been a hell of a ride. The crowd starts chanting for Big E. And at that moment, they start to acknowledge, and Xavier Woods says, hey, we miss him too. And Kofi does this thing where he leans in and he goes, you know, It's not just the two of us that made this succeed. And everyone thinks he's going to say Big E. So the crowd starts chanting Big E and all this stuff. And then he says, we wouldn't have been able to do it with all of you, without all of you. And he puts the crowd, and the crowd is kind of like, oh, thanks. Yeah. But no, we were talking about Big E. And then that's when Woods is like, we miss him too. And all this stuff. And then it looks like they're heading in the direction that they're very thankful for these 10 years. But through everything that's happened these last few months, it looks like they're about to announce that they're going to amicably go their separate ways. That's how it felt like this was going to go. Drew is speaking. Well, I haven't really let him speak yet. I have that thing sometimes where I'm like, I'm going to talk, but I haven't let him speak yet. I should have, but I'll let him go. I'm going to give him the floor here. And right as it seems like they're about to say that, Big E's music hits. And Big E comes out, and it's just it's like, oh, Big E's here. Look at this. I really wanted him to do oh, don't you dare. I wanted him to do that. But I understand. With what happened after, totally get it. Totally get it. At this moment, Drew, I should have said, yeah. At this moment, Drew, when you hear Big E's music, you see that Big E is here. What's going through your head before we dive into actually what were you as excited as everybody to see Big E? You're like, here we go. They're going to stay together. Like, what was going through your head when you saw Big E?
Positivity, happiness, joy.
Yeah. Unbelievable. So Big E is here. He gets on the mic. He thanks everybody for the ovation. He says, that means more than you know. Thank you. He goes, I wish it was under better circumstances. He goes, because I've been watching you two argue, bicker, say some of the most hurtful things to each other you can imagine. He goes, that troubled me deep in my soul. He's like, we started 10 years ago. We were all that we had. The three of us were all that we had. He goes, Kofi, 10 years ago, you were mulling retirement because your passion had been beaten out of you. And he goes, me and Woods were close to getting fired. He goes, and on one of the worst days of my life, one of the scariest moments of my career, you guys were at the hospital beside me for hours making sure I was good. He goes, I was in a neck brace for months after Kofi's daughter was born, and I held her for the first time. When Woods got back from winning the King of the Ring, he was the first. This big talking. He goes, I was the first to greet him, and we spilled tears on his shoulders. He goes, and what we built meant something to a lot of people, and it damn sure means a lot to him. And the crowd started. You got a phone call?
While you're doing that, yeah, I'll be right back.
All right. Well, I'll lead the rest of this. Until we can get Drew back here, as I'm going to be going through. So he says that. He goes, but until I am medically cleared, which this is the first time. Obviously, this is the first time we've seen Big E not on like a pre-show, like he was in the ring, part of the story like that. But he mentions medically cleared, which I'll wait till Drew gets back because I want Drew's opinion on this. But he says, so until I am medically cleared to return to this ring, I'm going to be here and I'm going to remind the two of you exactly who you are. I'm going to be here to cheer for you, to root for you, to uplift you. He says, I'm going to be here every single week to manage you. And then the New Day Rocks chants come, all sorts of stuff, and everybody's like, oh, baby, here we go. Like, Big E's going to be back every week. He's going to be managing. New Day is going to be the three of them. Everyone's feeling good. And then right away, Xavier Woods gets on the mic, and he just says, now? He goes, we've been fighting for months. We argued to the edge of the cliff. The only things left is to jump. And he goes, and now you're coming back? He goes, you left us. And at this point, Woods is the only one that's talked. At this point, Woods is the only one that's kind of gave Big E. And like that tracks with what we've seen with Woods. Woods has been kind of the curmudgeon-y, the complainer. So that tracks. So Kofi's being quiet at this point. And Woods says all that. And then Big E starts saying, I broke my neck, man. I broke my neck. Like I was in a neck. I was trying to heal, blah, blah, blah. And Kofi now interrupts Big E. And he says, you left us, E. And that's where everything kind of took a shift for me. I was like, oh, dude. And then Kofi, he goes, you broke your neck. So what? Incredible line. He goes, Stone Cold Steve Austin broke his neck. And he was back. Kurt Angle broke his neck. And he was back. Edge broke his neck. And he came back. He goes, oh my, like he brings those guys up and it's just like, holy crap, man. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? It was absolutely savage. He goes, they didn't even want, we didn't want people waiting for you. There wasn't a light waiting for them to walk back into. He goes, we didn't change. We didn't involve, all for your benefit. Kofi says he's as big, as strong as he is without even having surgery on your neck. He says, you haven't even had surgery on your neck. He goes, you couldn't have been back here sooner. You couldn't have been back here sooner. E is, arguing like, what are you talking about? I was in a neck brace. I was getting scans. I was trying to get back here. And then Xavier Woods goes, hey, remember that time that I tore my Achilles tendon off the bone? And I was back in 9 months for you. Kofi says that if he really truly cared about them, he'd have been back a long time ago, clapping by their side and encouraging them. But nah, he chose his new life, his new project, his new girlfriend, his new desk job, all over them. Xavier then gets back on the mic. He says, listen up. And he goes, do you even realize the burden you've become? Wait, do you need to go do? Okay. Sorry, I didn't know if you were back or not.
Okay. I have these on wirelessly. So that means that when my phone,
got it,
I have to like unpair it in order for it to.
Unbelievable. You see the disrespect we have to deal with? These people don't know that Drew and I are live at this time and they can call on the opposite ends of 10 a.m. Unbelievable.
There we go.
So then Xavier says, do you realize what kind of burden you've become? To Big E, calls him a 12 minutes, calls him a fucking burden. Dude broke his neck. Unbelievable. He says, no matter where we go, everybody always tells him, we miss Big E. We miss Big E. How's Big E doing? And he goes, as if we don't miss you. He goes, but obviously you don't miss us. Kofi says since day one, their philosophy has been new day over and before anything else. We before me. He said, but E, broken neck or not, chose himself over them. Xavier Woods says he wants to stop teasing and says, Big E, he goes, let's just stop joking around. He goes, you're never going to be medically cleared, which I think means the exact opposite, but we'll get to that. But he says, you're never going to be medically cleared. So you should get the hell out of this ring and back to your desk where you belong. And we'll call you if we need you. E is then just shocked and just kind of whatever, but he says, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to throw it away like that. I'm not going to let you do this. I'm not doing it. He offers Kofi a hug. He says, come on, man. He goes, come on, not like this. And as he walks forward, Kofi puts his hand out to stop him on his chest, shakes his head no. Big E is begging Woods, but Woods turns away from him. And Big E can't believe it. And he goes, that's it? He's no mic. He's not even using a mic at this point. He's just like, that's it? This is it. That's it. This is over. It's done. He steps through the ropes and he leaves. And then Kofi turns to Xavier and he says, it's just you and me now. And they shake hands, like kind of like I don't know if you've seen the movie Predator, but it's kind of like the Predator shake they did. And that was it. Fucking brutal. Fucking brutal. Well done. Like, as well done as you could do. Like, just beautifully done. But absolutely brutal. I think we were all feeling it. Like, that was heartbreaking shit. Heartbreaking shit, Drew. Oh,
all right. I guess I'll talk about it now.
Yeah, go ahead.
I watched it live last night, and now remember, last week I was sure that somebody was turning heel.
Yeah.
And originally, let me break it down. So originally, if you remember, for those who saw the show last week, my dream scenario here was that Big E comes out and Big E and Kofi turn heel on Xavier Woods. That was my dream scenario. If not that, then just Kofi was going to turn and maybe lay out Big E if possible, if he's able to do that, and then lay out Xavier. Not in my wildest dreams did I expect what actually ended up happening.
Big E ended up being the catalyst for the heel turn with Kofi and
so
Xavier. Incredible.
I rewatched the segment like 5 times now.
It was a perfectly done segment. It's brilliant. It was just brilliant stuff.
So last week, remember, we had that moment where Xavier called it a reunion. No, Xavier called it an anniversary. And Kofi called it a reunion.
Yeah.
And I was like, why would he call it a reunion? There's part of me that wonders if maybe that was still intentional. That he maybe knew that this is what was going to bring Big E out. Because how could he not show up for this at least?
Yeah.
For months on this podcast and elsewhere, I have said, if Big E is there, why isn't he just out there?
Oh, yeah. He needed it. I don't know why it took this long.
And, they've been bickering back and forth for about a month and a half now. And still no Big E in sight. So I then read yesterday afternoon that Players Tribune article.
Oh, tremendous.
Big E, it's long, but it
is
the read. Well worth it.
100%.
And then I was like, oh, okay. He is not turning heel after this, because this is just this would be diabolical on so many levels if this article comes out that like taints him as a god, like he is God and the most incredible person in the world, and then he just turns heel a few hours later. Like it's just there's no way that that's going to happen. So when he comes out and Xavier then is like, now you're coming out? Now, after all this time, now you're coming out? And I didn't know what to expect, but I thought that, like, because they were bickering back and forth, Kofi was just going to turn around and be like, whoa, hold on. Our friend who's been hurting, and he has gone through a lot, and he sees what I've been seeing, that there's something wrong with you and your attitude.
Nope.
But he just turns to him and he's like, whoa, hold the phone. I actually agree with this guy, and you abandoned us.
Yep.
I was floored. I did not expect us to go down this way.
Not at all. Not at all.
Did you?
No. I was watching it. I was doing a watch along last night, and I was watching it. And no, when they went that route, I immediately was like, oh, I did not see it going this way. I did not see it go. And I was obviously clearly invested. Like, holy crap, they're turning the New Day heel. Like, these two are going heel. I figured one of them would. I didn't think it would go the way that it did, where like Big E became the catalyst of, and I was just like, holy moly. You're looking back on it now, though, Big E coming out wearing the black suit like he was going to a funeral. You look at certain little things to it now.
Yeah,
afterwards, and you're like, he came out, he's wearing a black suit like he's going to a funeral, and it's kind of like
something
shit,
that I noticed too. Like when I was rewatching it this morning, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Now I see both Kofi and Xavier were not even wearing bright colors.
No, it's all black and white or gray. Yeah, they were all wearing like black, white, gray.
While the whole background was rainbow balloons.
Yep.
And
they were all wearing like
most colorful things.
Yep. They were all wearing like blank toned black, white, dark gray, like the stuff you see if you're going to, unfortunately,
that was a beautiful creative direction.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful to see them in the dark colors surrounded by all the rainbow and everything, all the bright colors.
Yeah.
They're used to doing. Now Xavier hadn't been wearing bright colors.
No, he's been wearing black a lot lately. Yes, but Kofi has kept up with the New Day. But last night he was wearing even the white and the just the regular black jeans. And
then I also thought too, is like, okay, so them not wearing the New Day
garb
design in any way, it made me also think, okay, so that also leads into the, like you were saying, like the funeral of the New Day, because they were going. Part of me wonders also what was going to happen if he didn't show up. It was just going to be like, okay, they're done.
Sandy's saying that he was wearing his debut heel New Day outfit, which I do remember he was wearing suits back then. That would be a good pull if it was the exact.
He was
like the similar
wearing dress shirt and vest. And that's true. I did not put that together.
Yeah. And obviously we know that they did debut as heels. So clearly they're calling back to that.
I like Joe's thing there about if Kofi showed
he says, imagine if Kofi would have shown up at the pre-show and asked Big E to show up to Raw, and Big E would have been non-committal would have been.
I actually think it's better that they didn't do that, because
I thought it was a nice surprise, because I think everybody was expecting Big E, but the way everything went down, especially when the crowd started chanting and Woods was excellent and he was like, we miss him too. Like that made it seem like, oh shit, he's not there. Are you shitting me? Like when Woods was like, hey, we miss him too.
Yeah.
I was like, is he really not going to be there? What?
So another thing that was interesting too was right before they announced the retirement, Kofi said that he and Xavier had talked. So they were already like, they didn't. I thought maybe they were going to come out separately, because they were, the way that they ended last week was so like full of anger and everything that I did not think that they would even come out together.
Yeah.
So when they actually did come out together, but it was weird, because it was like Kofi came out first.
Yeah.
Then Xavier came out. They didn't come out together. So that already was like weird. It's like, okay, something's going on here. But man, there were some really awful digs.
Oh, for sure.
Like, oh, you broke your neck. So what?
I couldn't believe it.
So what?
Couldn't believe
it. So what?
Yeah. And the whole crowd reacted. They were like, what do you mean, so what? Broke his neck.
And then towards the end, Xavier being like, let's be clear with these people. Let's not lead these people on. You're never going to be cleared.
Well, that to me, and this is a whole secondary conversation about this. The fact that Big E mentioned whenever I do get cleared to, or if or whenever I do get cleared to return, the fact that Woods said that comment that you just made, that tells me they wouldn't be diving into that topic if they didn't feel like at some point he's going to get cleared. I feel like
I
they
think he
wouldn't
will.
even address it and mention that as part of the story, especially with Woods doubling down on it and saying, like, let's be honest, you're never getting cleared. Like, they wouldn't have brought that up if there was not confidence behind the scenes that he is going to get cleared and that he wants to come back.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they wouldn't have done that.
I think he will. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
was
to me was like somewhat of a positive. I think it was Joe. It was somebody earlier. It might have been Sinner. Somebody earlier said, yeah, Sinner said, I think Big E returns at the Rumble when Kofi and Xavier are in the ring. I don't know if he'll be cleared that soon. I don't know how soon we are to things. It was a broken neck. He has been gone for 4 years. They did make that has it been that long? Hasn't been that long. Has it really?
I don't think it was.
Tessitore said
neck in 2022.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But Tessitore said something about 4 years when he was walking down the ring. He said something along the lines of like,
yeah, I think that was a mistake because
maybe it was the first time all three of them were going to be in the ring because they were separated via the drafts for a while. He said something along the lines that had to do with 4 years. And I was like, I don't know what that means. 4 years. That seems like
he only broke his neck 2 years ago.
Yeah. So. But they were separated via the draft. So maybe he said that was the first time the three of them were going to be in the ring together. I don't know. But
mentioning Stone Cold, Kurt Angle, and Edge. They mentioned Edge.
They mentioned Edge too, yeah. Which I appreciate because, usually when people leave the company, they're a figment of our imagination forever. We never hear about him ever again. So, like, right. I know Edge isn't on TV every week because he's recovering from an injury on the other side, but I'm glad that they still mentioned him even though he works for the other people.
Right. So, yeah, this was just so he ends up, like you said, he ends up being the catalyst to bring them together again.
Oh my God, couldn't believe it.
Not in the way that we all thought.
That's fair. That's a fair point, Joe. That's a fair point. No, not in the way that we all thought, but holy crap, man. Holy crap, what a segment. What a segment. This New Day story that they've been telling, it's been brilliant. It's been brilliant. And they swerved me, man. They swerved us all. I think they swerved us all. I don't think any of us saw, although Sandy last week did say both of them would turn heel. So maybe Sandy saw it. But he had to be one of the only ones because I feel like a lot of us were all sitting there with the same kind of feeling in our gut last night when that was going on of like, oh my, I can't believe this. I don't think they're going to get a new name. I don't think they're getting a new name.
I think they're going to be New Day.
Yeah.
And they're going to be bastard heels.
I could see them getting new music maybe, but I don't think so.
They'll definitely get new music.
Yeah, they're not getting a new name. They're not getting a new name at all. They are
so if you saw my Twitter and my Blue Sky this morning, posted a picture of one of the first. Well, this was the last thing that I got at my local Toys R Us before it closed.
Is that a New Day action figure thing?
My New Day Funko Pop.
Oh, the Funko Pops,
which I had in I saw Sinner shitting on me before my 538th background. In one of my iterations that had a bookcase behind me or next to me.
Yeah,
these were always in there, and in their old traditional New Day gear, and I'm gonna miss this for a while, and I don't know what happens, when they get back to when Big E gets back. Are they gonna? Is Big E gonna have like a new tag partner? And
that was asked earlier. Joe said, does E find someone to partner with to take on Kofi and Woods? He has to eventually, right? I actually think that when Big E is cleared, I think he eventually joins them and they all turn heel. But that's
that segment
down the line. Yeah, I think he comes back and tries to avenge them, and then he realizes that they all. But I agreed with Joe. I thought that was going to be the swerve. I thought the swerve was going to be Kofi snapping and turning on Woods.
Well, remember last week I said either Big E and Kofi or just Kofi.
Yeah. So
I
I
thought
I
that
was
no way that after what I was seeing with Xavier was that they were trying to make you think that he was the one that was
yeah.
gonna turn on Kofi,
Mhm.
but it was gonna be a swerve.
Yeah.
Boy, did they swerve us.
My God.
Um,
My God. Just fantastic stuff. I mean, I don't think we see Big E for a bit now. I think that was kind of it. Like, I don't think Big E, although he did say that he was going to be there every week to manage them from that point. I don't think we see Big E for a bit.
oh, yeah, no,
Um,
he is definitely not gonna be around for a little while.
no, no. Um, but man,
Fightful actually posted the parting shot of Biggie walking up the ramp
yeah,
with head down.
yeah,
It's just brutal,
brutal
absolutely.
stuff. Brutal stuff. But it was really, really good.
But now,
Uh,
so right now, the very crappy tag team of Finn Balor and JD McDonough are tag champs on Raw.
yeah,
On SmackDown, it's Motor City Machine Guns.
yeah.
So does New Day move to SmackDown to
No, I don't
take
think
on
so.
Motor City Machine Guns,
No,
or
I
do
think I
do
think
they
the
stay on Raw and whoever wins from well, probably it'll end up being the War Raiders, hopefully. But I thought it was going to be that last week. It didn't end up
yeah.
being that.
Well, I think whenever Finn Balor and JD McDonough fight for the titles next, they're going to lose the belts because I think Finn Balor's going towards the world title. So I think Finn Balor's heading towards the world title.
Well,
Uh,
you don't think
yeah, he is. As we talk about
better than next
Raw,
main event. Yeah.
yeah, as we talk about Raw, we'll see that Finn Balor's heading towards the world title. In my opinion, I think the Damian Priest Finn Balor match, whenever we get to it next, could be involved around the world title. I
But
don't see Gunther, but yeah,
not to cut you off there, I apologize. But we do need to cut it short today.
yeah,
So let's skim through what we need to skim through. Because like
yeah,
by 11:10 ish, I gotta get out of here.
yeah.
So
Unbelievable. Sometimes life takes control, but it always happens to be during show days. Son of a
I know.
B. Anyway, you got to tell these
Wasn't
people, hey,
supposed to be today,
well,
Tim.
when you go to there, you got to go, hey, I appreciate what you're doing here, but Tuesdays and Thursdays off fucking limits. Anyway, that's what I told my doctor that once.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, you keep on scheduling my appointments on this day. I go, can you cut the shit? I got things to do. Anyway. So Survivor Series this past weekend, really, really good show. Really, really good show. Both War Games matches I thought delivered. Rhea Ripley and Team Rhea won the first one. What?
I'm gonna disagree with you there
Oh.
on one of the War Games matches.
Which one? Better be
The
the right one.
women's one.
Wow, I thought the women's match was, besides the triple threat, was the best match on the show.
I heavily disagree with you.
Really? I thought once they were all in there, that end sequence of the women's match was the best thing that happened on that pay-per-view.
The end sequence was very good. Most of the match, however, not good.
Yeah,
Not
what are
to
you
me.
gonna do? I actually liked the women's match. I thought they both delivered. The triple threat match for the IC title, I thought was the best match on the show. I thought that match ruled.
Yes, that I agree with.
That match ruled.
Yes.
Braun Breaker retained. I thought Damian Priest and Gunther had a very good match. Gunther retained. Finn Balor got involved. And the one thing that I love, Drew, about Finn Balor getting involved is how Gunther kicked his fucking head off. I like that. And they carried it over to Raw, which we'll discuss in a second. But I liked how Gunther wasn't the typical bad guy that was like, all right, cool, yeah. Like Gunther was like, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. I don't need your help. Get out of here.
And
I like that.
I have a theory as to why when we talk about it on Raw.
Yeah.
I can see, I'm understanding now where they're going with Gunther.
I also thought, what was the other match then? What was the LA Knight? LA Knight and Shinsuke Nakamura, baby, let's go.
You called that one.
You called that one. You needed it, Drew. He needed it. First of all, that entrance that they gave him, spectacular. That new entrance and new theme that they gave Shinsuke Nakamura was a spectacular entrance. I went in there saying he needs to win the title. He needs it. He's lost his last like 10 title opportunities. He needs to win it, and he won it relatively convincingly. Like it was a decent match, but he kind of dominated that match a little bit.
Yeah, he did.
And that was something that needed to happen. Obviously, it's on SmackDown, so we'll talk more about it, next week and stuff, because we got to see the fallout from that. But feeling good. Kervin, what do you do with your life with your Miami Heat? No, he's a piece of shit. But like, you have a Miami Heat thing, so you're a fucking loser too. So how'd that game go last night when the Celtics didn't have their top 3 guys and we still beat you by 20? Okay. But anyway.
So I'm a mod on another channel, channel.
Yeah.
What do we do with people like that here?
We don't have mods because they're so small of people that we literally don't give a shit. I usually rag on them and talk shit. Like, see, like he's ragging on us that we're doing this, but he's on his computer watching us typing that in the chat. So who's the fucking loser? Anyway, I digress.
I would just ban his ass.
Well, yeah, I don't think we have anybody. Please, nobody.
We could do it ourselves.
Do we? Can I do that? Wait, is this going to be the first time? Is this
when you highlight the comment where it goes to show it, and there's the star and the 3 dots? If you click the 3 dots, it says delete comment, put user in timeout, ban user, and delete the comments.
But it doesn't. It doesn't give me the option to ban them. It just says I can put them in timeout. It says report, remove, put user in timeout, hide user on this channel.
Oh no, you have to do it in StreamYard, in the StreamYard comments. Like how you could click to show the comment. I would do it from the air. This is
I don't give a shit. Oh yeah.
But
that was fun. You learn something new every day. Hey kids, don't be a fuckhead. Anyway, so I digress. So that happened. We have a new United States champion, which I'm very happy about. Shinsuke Nakamura. Love it.
Yeah, I did not think it was going to happen, honestly. So
it needed to happen. It needed to happen. It needed to happen. All in all, I thought Survivor Series was a solid show. Then you had the Bloodline War Games match. Very good match. Very good match.
Excellent.
Bronson Reed apparently got really hurt in that match. He fucked up his ankles on that splash from the top. Hopefully he's not out. Yeah, exactly. What's going on, Dan?
I do this shit for Fightful on the regular.
It's true. Hopefully he's not out too long, and it doesn't put a stagnance on his push. But yeah, apparently he hurt his ankles on that big jump. So hopefully he's all right.
We thought that Jacob Fatu hurt himself, but
yeah, that was just good selling. He knew he fucked up, and he was like, "How do I make this look okay? All right, I'm gonna fake that my knee fell off." I don't know why people are saying that. I disagree.
It was a sloppy mess before the bell.
Really? But it's a War Games match. What the fuck is it supposed to be? Is it supposed to be clean? Why does everybody have a problem with the War Games match being sloppy? I've heard that fucking... I'm going to lose my mind right now. I've heard that argument for 4 days that the women's War Games match is sloppy. It's a fucking War Games match. Is it supposed to be fucking clean? Let me wait perfectly for this. No chaos. It's a War Games match. Is it not supposed to be sloppy? What are we talking about? Anyway, it's okay if you guys didn't like it. I don't care that you guys didn't like it. But when I hear the argument that it was sloppy or a disaster, it was chaotic, it's War Games. It's not supposed to be a 5-star fucking flippy match. Like, what are you expecting? What do you expect?
I can say if it was sloppy in the sense of they're using weapons and...
Which they did.
And it looked awkward, then I would be like, okay, sloppy, like, if you're saying that's sloppy, that's dumb. But they were fucking up the wrestling move.
Again, it's a War Games match. There shouldn't be any wrestling moves.
Well, so then don't put wrestling moves in it if you're going to be sloppy about it.
I just that type of argument to me, the chemistry thing I'll give you, because it was very much just put together. You know what I mean? Like there were these teams were put together over the last 2 weeks. Like there wasn't a lot of story besides the individual story with Rhea and Liv, and kind of there were small little things, Bianca with Bailey and Io, like there were small things, but like the chemistry thing I'll give you. But like when I hear that argument of like, I was sloppy, I'm like, I don't know how you can go into a War Games match and expect anything to go like a clean, crisp.
If you're gonna do
thing.
wrestling move,
it's War Games, man.
Yeah,
like,
but it's still wrestling.
You know, it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't understand that argument at all. It's like, oh, we're having a last man standing match. Oh, you know, that was just too sloppy for me. Oh, you mean when they took the fucking barricade off and buried somebody, that was too sloppy for you? It's a fucking last man standing. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like,
well, I've said what
it makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. That argument of it. You want to say you didn't like it? Fine. That's fine. I don't care about that. But War Games match, it was too sloppy. No, I hope it was. It's 2 fucking rings and a giant cage with weapons. I would hope it's sloppy.
Yeah, but the men, I can't say that the men's didn't look sloppy, at least.
Well, that's because the men's had about a third of the actual wrestling that the women's one had, because it was all drama. And again, I love the men's match. But what are we talking about? You know, it's like you're watching the Royal Rumble. It's like, you know, there wasn't a lot of great wrestling in the Royal. Well, no shit. It's the Royal Rumble. But anyway, I digress. The men's War Games match, really, really good.
I loved the storytelling between Punk and
I did too. They left a lot to be desired there, because I do think that is something we will get down the line. I really liked it. I liked how, you know, Roman blocking Punk from getting in there, and Punk just staring at Roman while Sammy's like, "Ooh, I'm just gonna go, and I'm gonna get out of here." And then Punk then giving Roman the shoulder block, like, no, I'm going. You're not telling me what to do, and kind of stepping in front of Roman. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah. And obviously, I knew that, like Sandy just said, no turn from Heyman. I knew that wasn't gonna, the turn isn't happening yet. And I knew that it wasn't gonna happen yet because of what was gonna happen with the New Day. Though I didn't expect it to go the way that it went. But I knew that the turn is happening later.
Yes.
They're gonna, now with the direction that we saw was happening on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're gonna do the old who attacked.
Well, we got to get to that.
Somebody in the back.
Yeah.
Type of an angle. And I don't know if it's gonna be the person that everyone thinks it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be.
Well, I think it was unveiled at the end of who it was gonna be.
It was
potentially.
You know, it's pretty. You know,
they've left it open.
There.
Yeah, they left it open for discussion. So again, Survivor Series, solid show. Go out of your way to see that triple threat match for the IC title if you can. That was very, very good with the 3 of them.
I legitimately thought Kaiser was going to win it.
Yeah, that was a very, very good match with the 3 of them. So we then slide to Raw. We obviously talked about the New Day at length. We're not going to talk about that anymore. But Raw opened up with a hell of a segment. It opened up with CM Punk coming to the ring. He's talking about the War Games match. He said, last time you saw me, I was unsure about where I was going. I just came off Hell in a Cell. I was beat up. I was unsure about where I'm going. He goes, but now I know exactly where I'm going. He says he's less beat up. I've set my personal things aside, and I know where I'm going. He gets up. He goes, now there's no sign up here right now. He goes, but very soon, right around this area, there's going to be a sign. And he starts referencing Mania and the Rumble and things like that. He goes, there's multiple roads to get there. He goes, there's the Royal Rumble. There's the Elimination Chamber. There's all sorts of these things. He goes, but that's where I'm going. You can hop on. He's like, you can hop on this journey with me, but that's where I'm going. I'm on my way to Mania, and I have a title. He goes, I have my title set. Like, I want to go for a title at WrestleMania. And then Seth Rollins. Music hits, and he enters the fray. They're standing in opposite corners, and Rollins says, you know, I should have knocked your ass out the first day you came back here. He goes, and I regret that every single day. He goes, I was busy with the bloodline. I was this close to taking a shot after Hell in the Cell, but I had pity for you. I had pity for you, and that was a mistake. He goes, but after Saturday, seeing you standing triumphantly next to Roman Reigns, it became very clear to me that it's time for me to rectify my mistakes. And then CM Punk goes, you talk too much and you don't listen enough.
Boy, you never shut up.
Yeah. He's like, you talk too much and you don't listen enough. He goes, you've been saying for 6 months you've been thinking about me? He goes, I don't think about you at all. Good line. He goes, I don't think about you at all. He goes, 6 months ago, you were a champ. You had something I wanted. He goes, now you got nothing.
Big boss, thank you very much for that compliment.
That is a compliment.
That
Adam Cole. Nice Adam Cole is a handsome fellow.
I've not ever been compared to Adam Cole before, so
that's a nice comment. Adam Cole's a handsome fellow. So Punk goes, 6 months ago, you had something I wanted, kid. You were a champion. You had it. He goes, you don't got anything right now. And he goes, and I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. He goes, and kid, he calls him kid. He goes, and kid, you ain't part of that path, brother.
The way that he was talking there,
really, condescending as fuck.
And it also made me go, is he picturing Jack Perry standing in front
of him? Maybe. Condescending as hell to Rollins. Real good stuff. Yeah, he says, I don't think about you at all. I got things to do in this business, so stay out of my business. Rollins then says, yeah, talking too much, not listening. He goes, this is my business. And he shoves CM Punk to the mat. CM Punk gets up, returns fire. They start brawling. And we don't see officials and security and Adam Pearce come out right away to break it up. We see Sami Zayn and Jey Uso come out. Listen, they've already loaded up Saturday night's main event. But if you were going to add another match, I think that's too soon. You don't do that on free TV. But you could. But I think they're stretching this puppy out till Mania, baby. They're stretching this puppy out till Mania. Yeah. So, yeah, Sammy and Jey Uso, they show up. They try to break it up. Then we get the road agents. We get Adam Pearce. We get security. We have a big pull apart. Seth is talking trash. And then Seth tells Jey, he goes, Jey, why don't you run along and get Roman? And that's when Sammy goes, whoa. So we're in the ring now. Everybody's cleared out. Punk's getting taken away. Jey kind of goes. Seth says the dig about Jey. And that's when Sammy goes, wait a minute. He goes, you don't get to talk like that to Jey. You don't get to talk like that to Jey. And Seth even goes, you're right. I apologize. He goes, I apologize for going there. He says, Jay's family with Roman. I understand that, blah, 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 blah. He goes, but what's your excuse, Sammy? He goes, what's your excuse? And then the crowd's chanting Sammy Uso. That happens, obviously. Seth says, if you're family with Roman, the Sammy Uso breakout. Yeah, Seth goes, if he's family with Roman, he's got to be family with me because you got to be family with me because we came up together. He goes, we're family too. And he goes, and it stabs me in the back when I see you team with CM Punk. And Sammy goes, hey, he goes, I didn't ask to team with CM Punk. I didn't want to team with CM Punk, which I thought was a little future stuff there as well. He goes, I didn't want to team with CM Punk, but we needed a fifth guy, and he was there to help, and so I did it. He goes, but if you remember, I wanted you. I came to you because I wanted you to be on the team, and you said no. Both times. He said, both times I came to you, you said no. He goes, I wouldn't have had to team with CM Punk if you would have just done it, but you're too damn stubborn. Seth calls Roman a monster. He tells, then Sammy says that, hey, yeah, well, he might be a monster, but he's a monster that you created 10 years ago when you hit him in the back with that chair shot. And I loved that line, Drew. I loved it. And Sammy saying the chair line was. Great piece of writing there. He goes, yeah, he might be a monster, but you're part of the creation of that monster from 10 years ago, buddy. When you hit him and you turned on him in the back. And then Seth says he knows he's not innocent in this. He knows he sinned, and he's apologized and atoned for that. And he says, but if you're going to point fingers, Sammy, you need to look in the mirror because you did the same damn thing to Roman and for the right reasons. He goes, Reigns is the scum of the earth, and he treated you and Jay like dirt, and that's why they sacrificed what they did to take down the bloodline. He says, Roman hasn't changed, and he asks if he's apologized even once. This is the shit I've been saying for a month and a half, Drew. It's the shit I've been saying. I'm with Rollins.
We've been talking about it.
Yes, I'm with Rollins on this. He says he asked if he's apologized even once. He goes, that snake CM Punk hasn't changed. So stubbornness isn't the issue. It's that Sammy has always been naive. He's always been gullible. And he goes, and if I'm being honest right now, you're being really stupid right now, Sammy. And then Sammy's angry. He says, well, if you want to blow off some steam about it, let's wrestle tonight. And Seth begrudgingly goes, okay. And that's set up for the main event later on tonight, Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins. Excellent first segment. Layers started with Punk and Rollins, then it turned into Rollins and Sam. It was just well done. Very, very good. We then had a tag team match. It was Damage Control versus Judgment Day, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. This was a pretty good match. Raquel Rodriguez really just dominated Kairi Sane to end this match. And then post-match, Rhea Ripley came out as Liv and Raquel were looking to beat up Damage Control after the match. And then Rhea gets she gets her eyeball right to the they love this corner of the announce desk. They're really using the corner of the announce desk a lot, Drew.
Yeah, because they did it last week also.
They did. Yeah, they're starting to use this corner of the desk. Rhea went eyeball, orbital bone first, right into the corner of the desk. And that's how this segment kind of ends. We had a backstage segment with Finn Balor and Gunther, where Finn demands a world title match. And the ring, he goes, because I helped you. He goes, you've beaten Priest twice now, and it's taken my help both times for you to beat him. So I think I deserve a title match. And Gunther and Finn Balor is with Dom Mysterio at this moment. We should say that. Gunther then says, Finn, you haven't done anything lately to earn a title match. He goes, if anything, I was having a tough time going into that match with Damian Priest, and I needed to win that one on my own to prove something to myself, and you got in my way. That's babyface shit, Drew. Keep that. That's babyface shit right there. But that's what he said. And then he goes, you really haven't done anything, Finn, to earn a title shot. He goes, but, and he looks at Dom Mysterio, and he goes, I'm feeling pretty good tonight. And he goes, and I got a little bit of power around these parts, being the world champ. So I'm going to go talk, and he's looking right at Dominic Mysterio. He goes, I'm going to go talk to Adam Pearce. Maybe we can work something out. I think that was all right.
Well, yeah, so let's get to the match, because the match was with the two of them. Or that wasn't next? Or was that next?
No. We had some stuff. Well, what we had in between that was we had a first-round matchup. They released the brackets for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. I said this last week. I think Dakota Kai should be the first Intercontinental Champion on the women's side. She was in the match last night. It was her versus Katana Chance versus Shayna Baszler. I thought they made all three of these women look good in this match. I thought this was a good match. But Dakota Kai ended up by winning. She hit the Benadryller kick on Katana Chance. She gets the victory. Shayna Baszler looked very strong in this match, which I liked. Sinner, I completely agree with you. We're going to be diving into that match now. I think Dom in 2025 is going to be a massive babyface. Massive. So then we already talked about the Biggie stuff. Now we get to the Dominic Mysterio versus Gunther championship match. This was a non-title match, correct? Because on my notes, it says it was so. Yeah, this was non-title. So they have this match. Decent match. At one point, they did that whole thing where Dom hit all his moves. He hit the 619, he hit the splash, and it was like, holy crap, is Dom going to win? But obviously, you knew he wasn't going to. Yeah. But pretty decent back and forth match. Dom got some stuff in, but at the end of the day, Gunther is just too good, too powerful. And he ends up defeating Dom with a power bomb. But after this match, though, I agree, Sandy. I do think the SmackDown Women's Tournament is a little bit stronger on the brackets than the Raw one. But post match, Finn Balor runs in, hits a sling blade, hits a shotgun drop kick, and then he hits 3 straight coup de grace on Gunther. And then later on in the evening, it is announced that on Saturday night's main event, Gunther will defend the World Heavyweight Championship against Finn Balor. Boss, I completely disagree with you. Gunther is a top guy in that company. He's a living legend. Completely disagree. You see that belt on him, and it looks the part immediately.
I think I'm kind of so. All right, so let me get into my thing about Gunther because it kind of ties into this a little bit.
Yeah.
I realized from the promo segment with Finn and Gunther there that why Gunther has not felt like a world champion in a bit, and why he was telling Ludwig Kaiser to go and do his own thing. He's trying to push people away from him while he has this title because of when the Cody Rhodes loss happened. He did not expect it. And it's really made him reevaluate a lot of things. I think he's actually been scared that Ludwig Kaiser was going to do the exact thing that Finn Balor did. He told Ludwig to go do his own thing because he knew that if Ludwig started helping him win his matches, he was going to demand a title match, which is exactly what Finn did. So then he's trying to sow more dissension between the Judgment Day as a whole by not giving Finn what he wanted, but giving it to Dominic instead. So that's going to continue to sow those seeds, which we then also saw at the end. Now, of course, Finn does end up getting what he wanted.
Yes.
But it came at the expense of more dissension in Judgment Day, because when Finn came out to show Dom how to really do it, that's the continuation of Dominic is not a good person, like that he's not doing it the way that it's supposed to be done, that he's doing it wrong. And that I think is why in this match people were cheering for Dominic more, because they're starting to, and listen, I hated everything about Dominic in the beginning.
Dominic's great.
He slowly got me to like warm up to him, and now I can see that he would be, I don't know how a babyface run would do, but definitely it's coming.
Oh yeah.
And it's coming because Finn is going to turn on him. And you can see it in this thing. Like before the match, I think it was last night that the Judgment Day were in the back and he was like shit talking Dominic to Liv. But that was last night.
Yeah, that was earlier in the night. Finn was talking shit about Dom, and then he actually talked shit about Liv. He said, maybe if you listened to me, you wouldn't have lost War Games either.
Right. Yeah, right. So,
and then Liv
mentioned,
as he left, Liv was like, no, Raquel goes, what did he mean by that? And Liv, puzzled, looked at Raquel and Dom and was like, I don't know. And then they just started talking about other things. So it was like kind of like, because this whole time, I think you and I have been under agreement that we thought Finn and Liv were kind of running things behind the scenes.
Yeah. Right.
And now it seems like Finn, JD, and Carlito are like one segment of the Judgment Day, and Liv, Raquel, and Dom. And it feels like they're like Kinda. You know, like they're on different pages. Finn and those guys are on one page,
Well,
and
you know,
Liv,
I'll
Dom,
even
and
say
Raquel
this,
are on the other.
it's really a three-fer here.
Yeah,
It's really because I think Carlito is kind of separate from everything else.
maybe. And
So,
like, yeah, Cinder saying, remember back in the day, it was, and Finn did take the
yes.
hotel room key. And there was also a segment back early on where we saw Finn Balor get out of an SUV, and then we found out a little bit later that it was Liv that was in that SUV with them. So they've definitely teased the Finn and Liv stuff well earlier on, but now it seems like even they are not on the same page, and Finn is radically kind of doing stuff behind the scenes, like for his own gain. I don't know. We had an interview with Pete Dunne in the back talking about R-Truth. And really the important thing happens after this. So Pete Dunne is saying he's annoyed. People keep calling him Butch and all that stuff. And then we see
about this at all.
my thing is, like, I like Pete Dunne a lot, but like I don't want Pete Dunne to be the guy that just gets angry because other people are just making fun of him by calling him Butch. Like, move on. Pete Dunne's he's a guy that can be a guy for you. Exactly. Like, that's what he's become. I don't have a problem with R-Truth beating him. I even said it on the watch along last night.
No,
like,
I didn't
R-Truth,
either.
I have no problem with R-Truth winning that match the way that he did that. I don't care about wins and losses that way. Like, that made sense. The Butch side of it should be over with. We went through that. We already changed his name. We already talked about the Butch stuff. We don't need to be doing the Butch stuff some more. Pete Dunne is a top wrestler in the world. Like, move on.
Yeah, this continuation of the Butch stuff.
Like, just move on, dude.
It feels a little bit like a Vince McMahon.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the vibe I get. Like, Tyler Bate got hurt, and we immediately moved Pete Dunne to like winning singles matches and feuding with Sheamus. And they were doing the Butch thing, but that made sense because they were in a group together before and all that stuff. Now we're 3 or 4 months past that. And I get it. R-Truth's the funny guy, and I like R-Truth. And like I said, I had no problem with anything of how that match went with R-Truth and Pete Dunne. I had no problem with it. I think it was fun. The loss made sense. All of that. I don't want Pete Dunne to be that guy where, we're feuding with Pete Dunne, so let's just call him Butch and he'll get angry and we'll feud with him. No, he's just more than that. But anyway, and we see security and Pierce running by Pete Dunne at the end of this, and we find out that Jey Uso had been attacked in the back. So we find that out because now we are at our main event of the evening, where it is Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins, and these two have a very good match, which you would expect them to. A very good match. Back and forth, going at it, back and forth. And at the end of the match, Seth Rollins goes and grabs a chair. No, Sami. I'm sorry. Sami Zayn goes and grabs a chair. My bad. Sami Zayn goes and grabs a chair. He gets in the ring. He looks like he's had enough. He's going to hit Seth, and Seth is pleading with him like, hey, man, like, don't do that. We're having a good match here, blah, blah, blah. And Sami's saying, you attacked Jey. Who attacked Jey? It was you. And Seth is like, no, it wasn't. You know me. You know me. That wasn't me. I didn't attack Jey. And Sami then eventually comes to his senses. He turns around. He throws the chair out of the ring, and he turns back around into a small package.
The thing that ends most matches.
And then he go right into a small package. 1, 2, 3. Seth gets the better of Sami. Post-match, Seth is telling Sami, he says, I love your heart. He goes, I love your heart. He goes, but you got to start using your head, man. And he leaves. And Sami's in the ring, and he's kind of downtrodden. And we see Seth walking back, and we see Sami leaning on the ropes, looking, and we start to hear the crowd. I thought Punk was going to come and attack Seth. That's what I thought. I thought Punk was going to come from behind and get Seth. But then we see Sami turn around, and there's a hooded guy in the ring, and he hits a Claymore on Sami Zayn, and the hood comes off, and it is the return of Drew McIntyre, and Raw ends with Drew staring right in the camera, shaking angry, with a laid-out Sami Zayn. Good ending to Raw. Good to see Drew McIntyre back. Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. Sign me the fuck up. Sign me up all day for Drew McIntyre and
So
Sami Zayn. Good
you
stuff,
think
Drew.
that? So you think Drew attacked Jey Uso?
I mean, I think they can go that route with the attack. I still think it's gonna. I don't know who it was, to be honest with you right now, because part of me wants to say it was Seth, but I don't know if they're gonna turn Seth heel. I think if anybody, they'll turn Punk heel, and it'll be Punk. That would be my
I was
leaning.
thinking too. The misdirection will be either Drew or Seth. But I
Yes,
think it could be Punk. I also had this in the back of my head. What about Kevin Owens?
potential. I think Kevin Owens is
Because
kind of too involved with his own thing right
when
now.
he's done with the Cody thing, there's no way that he doesn't go after Sammy, right? And other people that could once again, people who he was friends with
Mm,
sided with Roman in another match. So now he's only going to go after Cody. I don't know. It doesn't seem like he would just go after Cody. He may go after Sammy. He may
yeah,
go after Jey Uso. People that he was friendly with leading up to Roman and Cody facing each other.
yeah,
That when he turned on Cody and revealed, that how dare he team with Roman Reigns, somebody
yeah.
who tried to end his career and ruin him for years with the
Mm,
bloodline. Now another one of his friends does it too. Like, so I don't know. I feel like it's probably not Kevin Owens, but I thought that that would be an interesting wrinkle in the story.
mm.
That like, and then in a couple weeks, maybe Jimmy Uso gets attacked backstage, and then people are thinking, oh, it's the it's the new bloodline. Somebody is Jacob Fatu or Solo Sikoa. Somebody attacks him, but no, it's not them. It's actually the classic misdirection thing.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but I think it was either Punk or Kevin Owens that actually attacked Jay.
We got Sunday Center saying, is Drew attacking people associated with Punk or people associated with Roman? I mean, it would make sense if it was Punk, although Drew has always been anti-Roman as well. And then he was saying it would actually make sense for it to be Punk because Jay was the one restraining Punk. That is true. That is true. And yeah,
Um,
I think they've done this relatively well because it can be multiple people. And I think it's one of those things right now where we don't know who it was, but I feel like they've done a really good job because it makes sense if it was Punk. It makes sense if it was Seth. It makes sense at the end of Raw if it was Drew. Your reasoning for Kevin Owens would make sense. So there's a lot of things out there of why it could be a certain person. You know what I mean? Until we kind of find out who it was. And Center saying, if it was Punk, maybe this is where we get the favor Paul owes him. Punk gets revealed, so now Roman is after him, and Paul has to choose. Maybe.
I don't think Paul. I think Paul has already chose his side, and I don't think it's Roman.
We'll see. We'll see. I think, yeah, we'll see. But I thought that was as good an that was an excellent Raw last night. It was truly an excellent Raw. Sandy's saying that he gave Raw 8 out of 10, but the New Day segment 10 out of 10. That's what he gave it.
I would actually agree with that.
Yeah, I would even go a little higher on Raw as a whole. I'd maybe even go a 9 for me. I thought Raw there was not a bad thing on Raw. I'm going to be honest with you. There was not. Oh, Sinner, 100% with you on that. A Paul Heyman Punk run again would be fun. That would be fun.
I saw somebody on Twitter today said that the favor would end up being Roman's main event spot at WrestleMania. So Paul would orchestrate something to take out Roman, so that this way Punk could take his place.
Yeah, what could the favor be if Roman does get the world title back again at some point?
Well, remember in Punk's promo on Raw last night, he said, "Oh, there's somebody I could call a favor to help me on that road."
Yep.
He never said WrestleMania by name. you notice, he was saying the road to,
Yeah.
but he did he said the sign pointing at the sign that wasn't there. He never specifically said WrestleMania.
It's true. We got Sandy threw that out there. And then Sunday Center says makes a good point. Maybe it was the New Day, and we get we revisit New Day and Usos again.
I did not think about that.
With the heel New Day. That'd be good. Let me tell you though, I know we started the show talking about the New Day for a good 35 minutes or so, as they deserve. What a jolt for the tag team division though, that they're staying in it as heels. Like that is a much needed, really good, established, one of the greatest of all time tag teams that you're going to throw in this tag team division again as heels. That is a jolt in the arm for the tag team division, because we need some more talent in that tag team division as they hopefully start to build back those titles once they get off the Judgment Day, and we can hopefully see them defended and fought for more often. All right, we do need to get out of here a bit early today. There are real life things happening that we need to go take care of. So this is a slightly shorter episode than you're used to. Drew's going to yell at some people so it doesn't happen again. So we'll be fine. I know he seems very mild-mannered. I'm the yeller of the two, but I've coached Drew over the weekend on how to properly yell at people. So he's going to yell at people, and then hopefully we'll be okay moving forward. I agree, Sinner, but I think the New Day being in it, I think the New Day, I mean, you got the Creed sitting there. There's more.
That's not a face team.
No, that's true though. Damn. Well, you got
War Raiders. You got War Raiders.
LWO. You got the two guys in LWO.
LWO.
There's more. No, there's more. They haven't used them, but there's got to be more than that. They don't have 3 teams. Like SmackDown is way better of a tag team division, to be honest with you, but there it is. All right, we got to get out of here. Thank you all for hanging in. We will be back Thursday morning, 10 a.m. for Firmly AEW, where we'll be talking about tomorrow night's Dynamite and Collision and all sorts of things of that nature. So tune in then. But before we get out of here, Drew, let the people know where they can find you so we can do our thing, man.
Find me right there at the Drew Nicholas on Twitter. Find me, Drew Nicholas, on Blue Sky, collecting super chats and humper chats for Fightful's AEW Collision post show, Roundtable Pro Wrestling podcast with this guy, and follow Firmly LW on Twitter as well.
Yes, do that. Follow Firmly Love Wrestling on the Twitter.
And I'm going to put this guy over too. He does watch-alongs now on his own channel.
I do.
You follow him on Twitter right there at JPJ Loves Gaming. You'll see his schedule for Monday, for Tuesday, NXT. Sandy.
I was going to say, Sandy's already in the chat talking about NXT. I don't know if you watch it live, because I know you're in Germany and it's late night for you. But if you are watching it live tonight at 8 p.m. on my own personal channel, JPJ Loves Gaming, on my YouTube, my Twitch, and my TikTok, we'll be doing a watch along. So starting this week, we started last night with Raw. I'm sure if Drew's available, he might pop in on a show here or there. We're going to be watching along to Raw, SmackDown, and NXT every single week. So if you guys like watch-alongs, you somehow still like me, even though I can yell about War Games matches and all sorts of shit, you can watch along the shows with me. So come do that. We have a good time. Last night was the first one. We had a few technical hiccups at the beginning, but we got everything taken out. The 2 hours does really help. Yeah, 100%. So come watch the shows with me. Come say hi with me, and then you can hear Drew and I recap the shows. WWE on Tuesdays, AEW on Wednesdays. I'm not doing AEW watch-alongs. Our pal Big Bad Boris has that on lock here at Love Wrestling. So my AEW stuff you can see with me and Drew on Thursday mornings. Eric Bischoff will be on NXT tonight.
Oh, that's tonight.
That is tonight. So if you are watching NXT live, come on by my channels. You can see me and Peggy, our pal Ophelia, one of our longtime pals here. She will be joining me on Tuesdays for NXT, and we're going to have a good time. But yes, you can follow me at JPJ Loves Gaming on all social media platforms, including Blue Sky, YouTube, Twitch, all that fun stuff. Tuesdays and Thursday mornings here with this fella. Thursday nights, 8 p.m., the flagship show here at Love Wrestling. Me and Pluggo for Between Two Beards. That's where you can find me. Sorry for the short show today, but we'll be back at normal length on Thursday. Appreciate everyone popping in the chat, our new friends today, Big Boss and all them. But until next time, guys, you know the drill. You know the drill. We appreciate all of you. And we shall see you all real soon. Peace out.